All right, so door is off and we can assess the damage. Um, Good size hole there, split right along that fold line. Starts to become a little bit more okay here, but once we get this rubber seal off, we can really see what we're messing with. But yeah, very troublesome. So let's try to get that back in one piece. Before I get too deep into it, I just want to let you guys know that this is a budget repair, like I said before. It's not feasible to do a total body off frame restoration of this car yet. So if I were to be doing the doors, doing the rocker panels, all according to best practice, we would be cutting out the metal, welding in new metal, and going from there. But what I want to do is preserve this car as it sits right now. And when it makes more sense financially, then somebody can soda blast or walnut blast this entire vehicle and then get to work on repairing the rust and the missing metal the right way. But the fiberglass strands that you're seeing here, those techniques, they're just as a means to an end. We know eventually the right way is going to be the only way to fix this car. But I do want to enjoy it for now, so I'm going to do the repair that makes sense at the time. If you don't like it, comment so. Always willing to hear your feedback. What a perfect time to note that only 12% of you have subscribed. Hit that subscribe button, like the video, share it, and we'll get into the next bit right now. All right, so I'm focused on this other side real quick. I just want to knock down the rust, fill the holes, and take off this strip. I'm gonna go trimless on these doors. So, and once I get everything back on the car, then I can focus on taking out stuff like this and like make the body straight and all that, just so I'll have something more to pull against than just being here. So let me get started. So here is the fun that I'm dealing with on the other side. So I'm gonna strip this one down, do the same thing I did on the other one, see what I'm dealing with and come up with a plan to get this back to 100%. So let's see. Okay, so the door's all cleaned up. Well, not really, but all the insulation, all the loose rust, that's all gone. So I'll get with the grinder, get in here, clean all of it up, and then we'll get to the repair. right, so here is the cleaned up version. It's a decent place to start. I hate when people don't show what they're actually using to take off want to do work, but that's kind of what I'm using. The carbide bit. As you can see, I kind of got it all the way down to the studs. The shaft is actually protruding over the carbide bit, so I have to go get another one. Hopefully that I can clean up some of the areas that I missed. But I'm an early riser and Harbor Freight doesn't open yet, so I'll continue chipping away, getting all of this perfect, so that when I go ahead and get my shopping list, I can come back and hit it hard. Taking a look at here, see a bunch of rust in that open hole, and it looks like a bunch of surface rust along the rocker. So I'm just gonna grind away at this using the same carbide bits, maybe a couple different tools. I may switch over to a wire wheel as well. Alright, so this side was by far the worst side, and got all of the outside stuff grinded down. I found some surface rust peeking through over here, so I'll treat that as well. I'll treat all up inside here, of course the entire thing, so we'll see that soon. Alright, all encapsulated, all reformed. Going to mix up another batch, fill in up there, and fill in the rest of this door, and then we can move on to final coat, and we'll be done. Okay, so got that side drying out. Got a final layer on this side that's gonna dry. Just did final sanding on this edge. I'm gonna paint it and sand it. And this has dried already, so I'm gonna sand it down, fill it, and should be good to go. All right, so you may remember what it looked like before. Take a look at it now. This entire section was one big hole before. Everything is done, it's nice and smooth. Nice and smooth. Oh, that's solid. Right, and it's straight too. So you're not gonna, anybody who's starting to look at these bad boys, they're not gonna think twice. So we'll get primer on them, get it to look like something, and we'll continue pushing on. All right, so we're about to start tackling this driver quarter panel, and I was very nervous about this one. It was the worst bodywork on the car and the most complex restructuring that I've ever had to do. So I got a few tools for this, and I just began knocking it out. So removing the trim was first up. I'm doing a total trim delete, as I already mentioned, so this has to go. And then we're gonna have a nice smooth belt line coming down. But one of the most difficult parts about this is recreating those body lines. There's one body line that goes horizontal from the fender all the way to the rear wheel well. And then there's that second, the curve that goes over that wheel arch. So those are two things that I have to be very wary of. And then also the front door, well, the driver door, also needs to line up right after the repair. So what you see me doing there is I'm attaching steel rods, and I'm going to use ratchet straps to kind of close in that gap as I'm pulling out on the metal. So that way the gaps will line up right, the body will start to take its natural shape, and hopefully we'll have a nice seamless repair. So there was no body work done in this section before. I could tell because as I grinded away, it was right and nice to the metal. You see me taking that stud welder and welding studs to it so I can pull that metal right back out. So I had two cameras on at this point, so I was able to capture a top-down view. That's what you're seeing at the top right, and a straight-on view from my right side. And thankfully, I didn't have to go behind a panel to bring this out. The majority of this, well, all of this work was done right from the outside of the car. And I was using the thinner welding rods, and that was great enough just to pull everything back out. It's really cool to see the transformation take shape. So after everything was pulled out and the metal was like 98% of the way there, I just took a thin layer of Bondo and started on my way to recreating that arch. So there's a lot of sanding, filling that goes on here. I cut a lot of that out just to show you how I was able to recreate those body lines. So you're building up Bondo in those areas, and then you're sanding down just to get everything nice and level. And the trick that bodywork guys use is they use tape to get that body line just right. So you're sanding on one side of the tape to create that line, and you gotta make sure you don't go over that tape, because if you go over the tape, it's gonna damage the body line that you're trying to sculpt. Thankfully, I didn't have to do the same thing on that wheel arch. It was almost there, and I was able just to use the body filler to get everything nice and smooth. So we'll end it there for this video, guys. Here is the door with its layer of paint and clear on. And in the next video, we'll start to tackle the rest of the quarter panel. We will finish up the rocker panels, and we still have fenders to go. We still have hood to go. We got a lot more to go. So thanks for joining. Like, share, subscribe, comment, let me know what you think, and we'll talk to you on the next one.